Hello and welcome back on the Parisian Mall, the channel dedicated to giving you all the insights and information about how to move to Paris. And in today's video, we're going to see how to actually register to the healthcare system in France. Because as soon as you move to Paris, or in France in general, this is one of the very first things you will have to take care of. So without further ado, let's get right into today's video. So, first of all, in France, the healthcare system is public, meaning that it's universal and open to all the French citizens and all the people that are legally residents in France. This means that if you're moving to France and you've been living in France for more than 3 months, it's mandatory for you to register to the healthcare system. Now, how to do that? Because there are two ways you can register to the healthcare system. You can do it by yourself, or you can do it through the company that is going to hire you in France. So let's see both of them in order for you to understand what's probably the best solution for your specific situation. So first of all, in France, the healthcare system is called Sécurité sociale or assurance maladie. So these are both ways you will hear people call and refer to the social security system. Now, in order to register to that, you will have to provide a series of documents that they of course need in order to proceed and register you to the healthcare system. Now, once you are registered, you will receive a social security number, which will be the number you will need for pretty much everything. And right after that, you will receive a proper health card, which is called Carte Vitale. Now, in order to do so, you have to prepare a whole list of documents that you will need to provide to the social security. And the very first one you have to prepare, and the most important one, is your proof of address. Because the proof of address is not only needed from the social security to show that you actually have been living in France for more than 3 months, but also because you have to be assigned to a specific local body of the social security depending on your geographical area. So the very first thing you have to bear in mind is that you have to have a French address in order to be registered to the social security. Now, how can you prove this address? Well, first of all, if you have an apartment for rent, you can prove it through the lease contract, you can prove it through the electricity bill, you can prove it through your internet subscription, you can prove it with a document that shows that your name and your address are on the same document. Now, if you don't live in an apartment, if you don't have an apartment for rent, if you are in a hotel, you can prove your address through the hotel invoice, you can prove it through any proof of payment of your stay in Paris, but it's important that it's shown that it has been more than 3 months. And then if you're hosted by somebody, you can always use the document we always talk about, which is the hosting declaration, which in France is called attestation d'hébergement. And as usual, I will place the link in the description in case you want to take a look at the form online. So basically, that's a form that you can ask the person who is hosting you to fill in with their data, the address, and then you need to also add the electricity bill of this person and the identity document of this person. So basically, these are the documents and the ways you can prove your address. And then together with that, there is a whole other list of documents, but before going into that, the very first thing you will need to do once you have an address, a French address that you can use as your own, is that you need to go on the Amélie website, which is the website of the Assurance Maladie, and you will need to type in your address in order to understand what is the caisse primaire, which are basically the local bodies of the healthcare system. And based and depending on your address, you will be redirected to the caisse primaire you have been assigned. So once you know that, you can book an appointment to the caisse primaire, and the day of the appointment, you will need to bring all the documents that we are going to see right now. And I'm going to take the list because I don't want to forget any document. So bear with me, because the very second thing you need to provide after the proof of address is your identity document. So you will need to bring with you a copy of your identity card or your passport. And if you come from a country which is not part of the European Union, you will need to provide your residence permit. Now, together with that, another very important document that you absolutely need to take care of, and my advice is take care of it before moving to Paris, is your birth certificate. So the Assurance Maladie will need your birth certificate translated in French. So what you need to do is that you have have to get in touch with your registry office and you need to ask them for your birth certificate in the international version translated in French, because usually these offices give you the possibility of having these kind of certificates translated in different languages. So you have to specify that you need it in French, because if you don't specify anything, they will more likely issue it in your mother tongue, but you will need it in French because of course it's the assurance maladie, so the French authorities that need to understand what is written on that certificate. So make sure you take care of this before moving, because sometimes you can have access to these kind of certificates even online, but sometimes the registry office will need you to physically go and take the certificate. So better to do it before moving. So you will need your proof of address, your identity document, your birth certificate, and then you will need your work contract or your paycheck, because you will need to show what's your employment status at the present moment. And finally, you will need to provide the indication of your French bank account, so the RIB. Now, the reason why they ask you for the indication of your French bank account is because, as I told you before, healthcare in France is public. It means that it covers a certain amount of medical expenses. But sometimes this kind of reimbursement are not immediate, meaning that sometimes you will find yourself needing to pay for the whole amount of that specific medical expenses, and then the healthcare system will reimburse you the money, so will refund you the money. But in order to do so, they need to have an indication of a bank account where this reimbursement can be done. And they want the indication of this bank account directly in the moment you ask to be registered to the healthcare system. And that's the reason why you will need to provide the indication of a French bank account. Now, pay attention here, you don't need to provide your bank statement, you just need to provide the indication of your RIB, which is the French IBAN. Now, where do you find this indication? Usually it's very easy, because you just need to go on your personal area inside your bank website or app, and you usually have the possibility of downloading the PDF on the bank's letterhead with your name and the indication of your bank account on it. And you can just add it to the list of documents you will need to give to the healthcare system for them to create a social security number for you. Now, once you have all the documents, as I told you before, you can proceed by booking an appointment at the Caisse Primaire, and then the day of the appointment, you can go and bring with you all the documents and they will start the procedure. But what happens if you need to create a social security number and register yourself to the healthcare system before actually being in France, or when you find a job? Because this could be a problem, and it has been for me actually. Because if you find a job in Paris before moving, and you find a company that is willing to hire you, in order to hire you and proceed with your hiring declaration, they will need your social security number. So what to do when you don't have a social security number, but you need to provide it to the company in order to start working? Well, luckily there is a preference channel for companies that want to hire people that comes from outside of France and still don't have a social security number. And basically on the French government website, and I will place the link in the description, there's a specific section dedicated for these kind of situations, where basically the company can create an account with all their company's data, and they can require the creation of a social security number for the person they want to hire. Of course, even in this situation, they will need all the documents you would, by the way, need if you'd proceed by yourself. So the same documents we just saw, you will need to provide them to the company too. But in that case, it will be the company that will have the possibility of asking the social security number for you. The only thing that you will not need to provide in this specific situation is, of course, the work contract. Because basically the fact that the company is asking to the social security to create a social security number for a person they want to hire, this of course represent a proof of your employment status, and so you don't need to prove the work contract because it's the company itself asking for the creation of your social security number. But everything else, so the identity document, your birth certificate, your proof of address, and the indication of your French bank account, you will need to provide them to the company, and then the company will proceed by starting the procedure to ask for the creation of your social security number. Now, once you are done with this first step, you will just need to wait, because there's nothing else you can do. You will need to wait until the Social Security has actually created your Social Security number. But considering that it takes time, because usually your Social Security number will be created within 3 to 8 to 9 months, meanwhile, at some point, usually around 1 month, 1 month and a half, you will receive a temporary social security number. Now, I want to be very clear about this. When you provide all the documents to the social security, be very conscious about the address, the French address that you will indicate, because from that moment on, every single communication from the social security will arrive by paper, so will arrive by mail. So you want to give an address you can trust. If you are in a hotel, if you are in a structure, make sure that the owner knows that you will receive some mail. If you are hosted by someone, just be sure that it's a person that you can trust and that will give you the mail. Because every indication, from the temporary social security number to the official social security number to the Carte Vitale itself, you will receive everything by paper. So be careful about the address you will give. So that being said, once you receive your temporary social security number, you will be able to start receiving a refund every single time you have to face the medical expenses, which is going to be partly covered from the healthcare system. Now, the only difference from the official social security number is that while you have the temporary one, asking for the refund is going to be a little bit trickier, because once you have the official social security number and your health card, it will be very automatic, because you will just need to show your health card every time you have a medical visit or you have to buy some medicines, and the refund will be directly done on your bank account. While until you don't have the card and you have the temporary social security number, every single time you will need to go to a doctor, you will need to have some medical visit, some medical exam, you will need to buy certain medicines. You need to show your temporary social security number, and then the doctor will give you a paper that you will need to fill, and then you will need to send via physical mail that paper with all the data of the medical expenses that you had to pay for, and you have to send it to the caisse primaire, and then after a few weeks you will receive the refund on your bank account. So while you have the temporary one, it's going to be a little bit tricky to just handle all the refunds, but once you have the Carte Vitale, everything will be easier, I promise. So in the very first period, you will have your temporary social security number. Then, the day you will receive the official social security number, it's going to be a great day, because that means that you're actually affiliated to the healthcare system in France. And together with the official social security number, two amazing things will happen. First of all, you will finally be able to create your personal account on the Amélie website, which is the Assurance Maladie website, so the website of the Social Security. And second thing, you will finally be able to ask for the creation of your Carte Vitale, which is the health card. So basically what happens is that as soon as you receive the indication of your official social security number, together with that, you receive also a form that you have to fill in with all the data they require, plus a photo card and a copy of your identity document. So either your identity card, either your passport. Now, you can choose, and I didn't know back at the time that I had the choice, because I've received the communication of my official social security number together with the form that I needed to fill in to ask for the Carte Vitale. And so I thought that that's the only thing you can do. I thought that you can only do via physical mail, but actually you can also ask it online. So once you have the official social security number, you can create, as I just told you, an account on the Amélie website, and inside that account, which will become basically the place where you will see everything related to your medical situation, your healthcare history and everything. And basically you can ask for the creation of a Carte Vitale directly online, directly uploading your photo card in the digital version and also a copy of your identity document, again in the digital version. And you can directly ask for the creation of a Carte Vitale online. Otherwise, of course, once you receive the form, you can fill the form and send it via physical mail, also because together with the form, you will receive an envelope with a pre-printed address on it. So you would just need to place all the documents in the envelope and just send it out to the address, which is already indicated. But obviously that takes more time, because you also need to consider the time that actually the mail needs to arrive to the destination. So if you actually have access to your personal area on the Amélie website, you can directly do everything online, and also online you will be able to track all the process like you're tracking a package basically, and you can track the moment where you have uploaded the documents, when they have received the documents, when they have been starting working on your dossier, and when they're actually creating your Carte Vitale, and when the Carte Vitale has been sent out. So you know that from that moment on, in a couple of days, you will more likely receive it. So that's basically how you ask for a Carte Vitale once you have an official social security number. Of course, as soon as you receive the official social security number, if the company hasn't received the communication, you should tell them immediately. But as soon as you receive the Carte Vitale, it means that your procedure is completed, because it means that you are officially part of the social security system in France, that you are affiliated. And from that moment on, every single time you have to go to a doctor, you have to do specific exams exams, visits, you have to buy specific medicines, you just need to show your Carte Vitale and you will be directly reimbursed the part which the national healthcare system covers. Now, what's another thing you have to do once you have received your social security number and your Carte Vitale? You have to choose a general practitioner because the assurance maladie will ask you to indicate a general practitioner. So how to choose and declare a general practitioner in France? So basically, one platform that every single person in France uses in order to find a specific doctor or to book appointments for specific medical visits is Doctolib. I didn't know about Doctolib before moving to France. I don't know if anybody is like me or it's just me, but I absolutely had no idea about what Doctolib was before moving to France. But basically, it's this platform, it's a website, and it's also an app where you can look for doctors of every single field and expertise, and you can choose the doctor that you prefer, and you can directly book every single kind of visit you need to. You can book it in a physical way, like you go directly to the doctor office. You can also book teleconsultations if you are not in the possibility of physically going to the doctor office. So Doctolib, it's amazing. It changed my life. It's so much easier and it's absolutely free, of course. But everybody uses it. And for example, when I was in Italy, every single time I needed to go to a doctor office or I needed to do specific medical exams, I called in order to book an appointment. When I tried to do that in France and I called to book an appointment, the secretary directly told me, oh, you can directly book on Doctolib. So actually, it's used by everybody. And the cool thing is that you can use it also to find a general practitioner. So you can filter for, as I told you, field of expertise and the geographical area. So if you want it to be closer to where you live or to where you work, you can also select a specific area of Paris. But basically, you can filter down the general practitioners. You can take a look at them and the kind of services they offer, and then you can check them online. You can just take a look at the reviews. And once you have like 2 or 3 general practitioners that you would like to consider, you can either call them or you can directly book an appointment to go to their office and just like, meet them and understand if you think you would get along well with this kind of practitioner. And once it's okay for you, and most importantly, once it's okay for the general practitioner, you can together decide to indicate him or her as the general practitioner you will have in Paris. And usually this is directly done in the medical office. So it's the general practitioner directly that through the platform can confirm to the assurance maladie that they will be your general practitioner, of course, filling in all the datas. So you will need to provide your data, so name, surname, and everything else they will need. And they will confirm that from that moment on, they will be your general practitioner. So once you have a general practitioner, actually your life will be way easier. First of all, because every single time you will need something medical related, you can just refer to them and ask them if they can advise any specific doctor for specific exams you may need. They will be the one issuing any health certificate you may need in case, I don't know, you're sick and you cannot go to work. They will be the one writing all the medical prescriptions for you. So the general practitioner is your reference point for the medical world in France. But also, if you have a general practitioner, actually you are allowed to receive higher reimbursements from the healthcare system compared to the people that don't have or haven't indicated a general practitioner. So that's also a useful thing to know. Now, how does it work with reimbursements? So basically, there are 3 sectors that you have to consider. So whenever you take a look at Doctolib, one of the things that I remember was the most confusing for me at first was that I didn't understand why close to every doctor there was a sector indicated. So it was indicated Sector 1, Sector 2, or Sector 3, and I couldn't really understand what that meant. So basically that's related to the kind of price they apply and the amount of reimbursement you will be entitled to. So basically, what does it mean? It means that every single doctor can decide if they want to be affiliated or not with the healthcare system. So if they are Sector 1, Sector 2, it means they are affiliated. If they belong to Sector 3, they are not affiliated. So for all the doctors within Sector 1, it means that they apply the prices decided by the healthcare system. Meaning that every single medical visit from these kind of doctors, you will be reimbursed 70% of that cost from the healthcare system. Doctors within Sector 2, they apply the basic fees decided together with the healthcare system and a plus, so an additional fee. Now, here it works the same, meaning that the healthcare system will reimburse you 70% of the basic fee, and it will not take into consideration the plus. So the plus, it will not be reimbursed in any sort. But within Sector 2, if the plus price applied by these doctors is, by the way, within the fixed plus decided with the healthcare system, then the reimbursements will be a little bit higher. Finally, in Sector 3, there are doctors that are not affiliated with the healthcare system, meaning that they apply the prices they want. And in this case, the refund of the healthcare system is very, very low. So you will more likely pay all out of your pockets. So this just to give you an idea of what does it mean, different sectors, and most importantly, what's the reimbursement you will be entitled to, depending on the kind of practitioners you will refer to. Now, how does it work? It works that sometimes you will need to pay the whole amount of the medical visit, specific exams and everything directly at the moment of the visit. So you will need to pay it in full, and then you show your Carte Vitale, and after a few days you will receive a refund directly on your bank account of the amount that will be covered by the social security system. On the other hand, there are some cases where you will just need to pay directly when you're in the doctor office. You will just need to pay the part up to you, and you will not need to pay in full and then wait for the refund. So the part that is in charge of the healthcare system, you don't even have to anticipate it. So usually it depends on the doctor, but they will tell you right away. And same with when you go to the pharmacy to buy some medicines. So sometimes you will need to pay in full and then you will receive a refund. Sometimes you will just need to pay the part which is up to you, always of course showing your Carte Vitale. So this is basically how it works, the healthcare system in France, and what you have to do once you arrive in France and you need to register, how long you have to wait, and how it works when you are entitled to receive some reimbursement. So I hope this video helped you a little bit in understanding what you have to do and how you have to do it, because I know that when it takes a lot of time, sometimes you wonder if actually they are working on your documents or not. So what I always recommend is making a phone call or directly going to the Caisse Primaire just to ask for an update about your dossier, because you never know, but it's always better to just like have an update here and there just to be sure that they're actually working on your documents. And I know that in very first phase it can be a little bit frustrating, but step by step and day by day you will get there, and finally when you will receive your official social security number and most importantly your Carte Vitale, the process will be done. You will be registered, you will not have to think about it anymore. So of course, if you have additional questions or any doubt, just leave them in the comment or send me a direct message on Instagram. On my side, I really hope this video could help you understand a little bit more what you have to do when you arrive in France in order to register to the healthcare system. But if you like this video, just click on the like button, and most importantly subscribe to the channel so that we can keep going on together in this process of moving to Paris and become a real Parisian. So on my side, I send you my best wishes and my biggest hugs for your moving to Paris process, and see you in the next video.